Welcome back to another episode of the Biweekly Journal. In the last episode, I spent all of my resin farming more ley lines, completed the Imaginarium Theater, tried to squeeze a bit more DPS out of Flynn's, and made a little progress on Sandrone's event. This session, we're wrapping things up by finishing Sandrone's event, completing the Stygian Onslaught artifact farming cycle, and doing a moderate amount of Mora farming. The week started off with me crafting condensed resin as usual, and checking out what events I have. When I opened the events tab, I realized this is the last week, so I'm getting that free constellation this Friday. Now initially I did choose Keqing, but I decided to swap to Chi-Chi since she's getting stellar conduct buffs. I'm not exactly sure what they mean, and for whatever reason I can't find the constellation buffs, but oh, so that's where it is. I have to activate it like the Witch's Rites for the Hexen Circle characters. It's a lot of text, but I'm assuming it's pretty good anyway. So I'll be getting Chi-Chi C1 this Friday. Anyways, I continued farming ley lines, which got pretty boring at this point. I might have around 10 million Mora, and that's pretty much enough for at least 2 characters at decent levels. Then I proceeded to fight weekly bosses, but my Wi-Fi really wasn't with me. It started to react out and actually piss me off. I ended up waiting at least 3 entire minutes just to claim this leyline drop. With that out of the way, I decided it's finally time to start the event for real, and met my new most unfavorite button. From what I see, you're supposed to fish for items, sell those items, and make more money. With the money you make, you can upgrade your abilities to explore more, fish more, and sell for more. Pretty simple, but very time consuming. The abilities you start off with are extremely weak. Think of numbers in the thousands when you usually do damage in the 100,000s. I continued and watched how my water blade perfectly missed the enemy even when it hit. Then I tried to kill the bosses, but well, turns out my water gun is useless trash. So I died and had to restart the run. I decided it's time to upgrade my abilities so I can do more damage, which was definitely a good decision. Now I was doing way more damage, well, maybe not that much more damage, but at least I was killing enemies, instead of just standing next to them, so that was great. Then I upgraded the abilities even more, and noticed I should probably get stuff like the backpack upgraded too. Anyways, I met the boss again, and this time, it was much better. I was able to do a decent chunk of damage each hit, and the boss really wasn't that hard against me. I killed them and claimed my first special drop. I later learned that each of these bosses drop a part of a piano, and when you assemble the piano together, Sandrone does something with it. There's also extra rewards for quests you do. Then I met Freminette to advance to the next part of the event, and had a very interesting session with Sandrone, which I definitely couldn't care less about. Now, I just want to say I did like Sandrone and not cry, but after all the grinding I had to do, the 4 or 5 hours that later progressed through this video, and all the talking that I just couldn't skip, I don't like Sandrone anymore. It's a hatred I'm not willing to pass on. This event was probably the most annoying event I've ever done. Most events end in maybe an hour or 2 of binging, but this went on for well over 4 hours. Eventually, I unlocked the second part of the game, the event, which looks like a selling simulator, and it's what you'd expect. You sell the stuff you fished for, and get a decent chunk more than the money you earned by fishing. Seems like my second source of revenue. With the money I had, I decided to upgrade the backpack and weapons. Now, the blade was at 6 on 6, which means it's insanely powerful. Every time you go to a new stage or world, you start with that world's ability. And that means it's back to level 1. I enjoyed having the sight at very high levels, but now I'm stuck with this. Eventually, I learned you can get some of your abilities back. They're spread across the map, and you don't have to only play the map with that specific ability. So of course, I equipped my water blades and absolutely decimated the heck out of this crab. I'm assuming it would have been hard if rather than hard, I think it would have been close to impossible if I didn't use the water blades. But wow, that died very fast. It was back to selling again, and I had a bunch of stuff to sell. So I completed that, got more money, and continued with the event. Although you can find other abilities in the map, they're pretty rare and almost one-time use. So if I use it on one run, chances are I'm not gonna find it again. That was it for the day, and I started the next day by claiming realm coins, friendship points, buying transient resin, and the XP books. The next day, Stygian finally reset, and I decided to directly go for co-op, because I'm definitely not going through all the pain of doing menacing solo clears again. And this time, I can't even touch the Natland boss, so of course I had someone carry me. I claimed all the rewards, and let it be. Then I realized I unlocked the last event, that is, the last part of the event, the other minigame. It's a fishing minigame, and for some amazing reason, everything says capture failed, which really pissed me off. The net's this big and it still says that, but then I later learned that it's a property of the event. Anyways, I upgraded abilities and realized I can get more out of the fishing event too. Then the next day had me farming Stygian Onslaught artifacts, just for the last feather. I honestly couldn't care less about the artifacts, it's just that I want the feather and can't miss out on something that's technically free. So why not? Then I went back to the event and realized after almost an hour, I'm still stuck in phase 1, which means this will likely take a very long time to complete. I went back to the fishing event and this time I realized how it works. At times, when you catch a special fish, your smallest net becomes a machine gun, which lets you capture more small fish and get even more. But of course we have our favorite message, which is capture failed. I was really starting to get annoyed with the capture failed. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you can just spam the net and it's gonna get everything anyway. I ended up with a wonderful 20k, which is the most I've earned out of all the events so far. At some point I unlocked all the worlds, the fishing worlds, and decided it's time to upgrade the power-up abilities. I didn't want to get stuck with the level 1 water gun again. Then that day ended, and I started the next one. Now just so you know, I'm phasing out the event in different days, because if I did it in one day, I'd probably go insane. Then I did the fishing event again, and this time, I knew how it worked. I was supposed to get the glowing fish, use the net abilities when I had them, and cash in. And I could already see the numbers going up. We were going from maybe 10k per session to a whopping 30 or 40k this session, which is amazing. We're earning so much more. I made sure to use my massive amount of coins to upgrade more abilities and realized I was missing a blubber beast pup. Now I fought a lot of bosses and enemies, but I didn't see this in all my gameplay time. So of course I had to search it. Because in all the stages I went to I couldn't find it, so I watched a YouTube tutorial and realized these guys are hidden really well. They're at the lowest layer of the map, and these guys are really hard to find unless you know what you're looking for. And in my case, I didn't, so I had to watch a YouTube tutorial. Anyways, I got the blubber beast finally, so I could get that skill to a higher level. But you see, blubber beast materials aren't all I need. I also need these mechanical fish materials, and they aren't easy to find. They're hidden in the map, and only in special pollution phases. Now, considering all the things I went through, almost 4 or 5 hours, I decided it's not worth getting the last 3 rewards. They just give Mora and talent materials, I have plenty, and there's no primogems or event XP to get from them. So I decided to not do them. Even without them, I probably claimed like 99% of the event. Then I went to claim the popularity gifts and realized I needn't have grinded that much. I think 1000 or 1200 of the points would have been enough to get almost all the rewards. And I totally forgot we'll get Charlotte this time. I just assumed we're getting the skin. The skin splash art looks really nice, I like it, the explorer vibe, but I don't see much of a difference between the skin and Charlotte's normal version. Maybe different clothes, well obviously different clothes, but there isn't much else. Now with the event finally done, I made sure to claim Chi-Chi's C1 constellation because there's really no justification to getting Keqing's C2. She's useless, and I don't see the upgrades coming anytime soon. So yeah, my second Chi-Chi in the game entirely. Now, thinking about everything that happened this week, I think the event caused me way too much pain. Maybe I went too seriously or I tried to binge it too fast. But if you think about it, I spent more time this week than I spent in the last month. Now looking at the event log, I can see that we have the exploration on the moon to do. I'm definitely not doing this week, but I think maybe next week we'd have some time. So that's how the week ended. I then decided to do Stygian Onslaught, and I must say this boss is really easy. I think it's my fastest run at about 15 seconds. Outside of Stygian Onslaught, I really don't see myself farming artifacts for a while, at least until they're desperately needed, probably in Snezhnaya. Next, I decided it was time to explore the new area. Well, at least explore, unlock the new waypoint. Cause there's just this sense that I can't leave a new area locked for too long. I was hoping I could get there without triggering the quest and, well, the quest triggered. But the dialogue wasn't much. We saw Calvina walking away, some very brief dialogue, and then we made it to the Statue of the Seven. So I unlocked it and decided I'll do my exploration later. This quest seems to be long, so I don't think I'm gonna go for it right away. Then I decided, well, why not dump a few polls in the banner? We're only at 40 something pity. I ended up getting a Diona, and that was it. Then the new week started, so I claimed my Rome coins, bought Transient Resin, and XP books for the week. Now around this time, I was getting curious about how good the artifacts are from Stygian, so I decided I might as well upgrade something in Flint's build. At present, his goblet really isn't that good, but I don't have much option, so I'll have to leave it there. Then there's his feather, a very solid crit stat piece, but outside of that, it really doesn't have much. So anyways, I decided to look through my pieces and I found this really nice feather. It had all the stats I needed: crit rate, crit damage, and energy recharge. So of course I rolled it. Wow, that's really good. The piece is already really good. That's nice. Energy recharge, perfect. That's what we need. And the last one, okay, crit rate. Well, this definitely beats the other piece I already have. The stats, well, while it might have less crit stats, it's better in every other way, especially the energy recharge, which we really need. I compared it with my feather after that, my existing feather, and realized it's definitely the better option. Then I looked at my feather to swap for better pieces, but turns out I only have trash. Well, not trash, but they're not really good pieces either. So for now, only the feather is an upgrade. I'll still have to farm for other pieces in the near future. I checked out my luck with other pieces and they didn't go all that well. I had flat HP, defense, some mediocre crit rate, and crit damage rolls. But honestly, we're not looking for 1 or 2 rolls. We're looking for the best rolls, something like a max roll, high rolls, and stuff like that. Then I've created this one piece which had a 5 times bonus enhancement, but that's pretty much useless since I use a level 20 piece to upgrade it anyway. Remember when I said the Abyssal Dog was the fastest boss I could clear at Flynn's? Well, turns out this ball is easier to defeat. He dies in about 11 seconds and doesn't even move around that much, so it makes it so much easier. 11 seconds is probably my fastest Stygian run. So that's very nice. It was finally time to claim the feather, so I made sure to claim it, and that puts us at about 31. Now usually when Stygian releases, I just farm until the feather and don't farm afterwards. I feel it's a waste of resin, but this time I was feeling bored, so I decided, well, why not keep farming it? It's only 3 or 4 days more. And that's what I did. On the weekend, I decided it's time to use all my resin on the weekly bosses. I didn't do any weekly bosses earlier this week since I used all my resin on Stygian Onslaught. And I mean, what else would I do with all that resin? It's always better to have more dream solvents, and you can only get them from time-gated weekly bosses. Plus, it's just 2 days worth of resin, so it doesn't really make a difference. Looking back at how the past 2 weeks went, I think it was pretty productive. We could have squeezed in some exploration, but I didn't have much time, so maybe in the next journal we'll do that. I'll see you guys on the next journal.